because they need to go someplace.
Right. We don't. I actually have better data on this, and more relevant data on this is from our birth rate Taglit database, where we have 400,000 people in it now, and we can
So what's the percentage of young people having their bar mitzvah in each of the denominations? You do have those numbers from Taglit?
From Taglit.
And the numbers are quite different from the ones you just showed, I'd assume. Because most of them would go to reform or concept.
So, but basically remember what's happening here is that even if a Taglit participant has a bar mitzvah in a reform,
he would not say he belongs to the reform movement. Okay.
In fact, we have. I'll throw out one of the things. One of the things that we found, because we've been focusing now on Taglit, the Bogrei Taglit, as well as the people who applied and didn't go on Taglit. We've been following them now for, in some cases, 10 years. And we consistently find that there is a very sharp increase. The increase is about 50% in the rate of intermarriage, simply as a function of going on Taglit. That for the Bogrei Taglit, their average in-marriage rate is about 75% compared to 50% for the others. One of the interesting things about that is that many of the liberals are being married. Many of, say, the reform identified or the reform B'nai Mitzvah are being married by Orthodox rabbis.
But that number, which makes the difference between the Taglit goers and Taglit non-goers, you connect it to the Taglit experience, or but you can argue differently, that from the outset they went to Taglit.
No. He follows those who applied and were rejected because
basically in the first 5 years of the program, it was a lottery. We can assume it was a lottery who got to go on the program. So we have, it's as close to what the medical people would call an RCT, a randomized clinical trial. And we do some further adjustments. So we see no difference at the time that they went between the people who went on Taglit and the people who didn't. And so the only explanation is Taglit. Anyway, this is a lengthy, convoluted response, but one of the interesting things is that right today, in order to be married by, say, a Reform rabbi, you often have to be part of a congregation. And the pattern in the Reform movement is that the family, once the last child is bar bat mitzvah, they drop their synagogue membership because it's too expensive. So by the time they get married, 20 years later, they don't have a synagogue to go to. And the rabbis who are out there doing Keruv are Dati. And so they end up sort of the opposite of what might happen here, different laws. Okay, one of the things, and you don't have to be a Freudian to understand issues of rejection, and why I'm interested in Hebrew Ivrit and Hebrew comprehension by age, is that we've looked at the level of knowledge of Ivrit. And basically what this shows, the numbers at the bottom of each column are those who can't tell Aleph from Bet. And basically what you see here is that overall about 75% of American Jews have no comprehension at all of Hebrew.
Why?
Huh?
But if you go to the young generation...
The young generation, we believe this one is a little bit odd, and I'll come back, but it's still the same thing, because the 53% who can read the letters but do not understand. This is the sample, rather, who celebrated bar mitzvah like a sort of monkey, learned to lay in a particular parsha, and didn't learn what it means.
But there are many who are affiliated and knows only the letter.
Right. And so one of the questions that I'm interested in, and one of the reasons that I show this to you, is that one of the things that we are tracking is to what extent is knowledge, and Ivrit is only one of the issues, but to what extent is knowledge of Judaism, whether it be the ability to know where you are in a Siddur, whether it's the ability to read a Siddur, whether it's the ability to understand whatever, is part of the barrier to engagement.
But anyway, there isn't a trend towards knowing less Hebrew over by age.
No.
Is that a surprise?
No, although we're still dealing with pretty small samples here, and we haven't perfected the weighting. So I'm less
You're not sure.
I'm less
yet.
confident about the differences across
Right,
ages
as opposed to
than
the
I
total.
am as opposed to the overall story. At this point, we'll know better. This is synagogue membership. We show a little bit higher levels of synagogue membership. I don't know what the overall is when you count in, but it's probably under 50%. And we had a very broad definition of synagogue membership. Are you part of any kind of a mentally davening community? This is, these are just experimental questions that I'm playing with. I'm trying to, the traditional way of measuring Jewish engagement was to ask you, like, you wrote Shabbat, and I'm trying to get at different ways of understanding what these things mean, and in particular, are there people who are not members of synagogues but actually participate in synagogue life? Are there people who participate in synagogues but they don't really do anything as part of that? They come, they pay their membership dues, they maybe show up for Kol Nidre. And so we have a set of items that have to do with have you had an aliyah, have you had any sort of other honor, and you see the rates are relatively small, not surprisingly increasing with age. This is actually, from my perspective, more interesting and important. I've been tracking participation in Jewish life cycle events. And so we asked, have you attended a Brit to be as gender neutral as possible, a Jewish baby naming ceremony, have you attended a bar mitzvah, have you attended a Jewish wedding, have you made a shiva call? And over time, we want to track this. Like Ivrit, like other knowledge questions, one of the issues for me is, do we increase engagement in the Jewish community by teaching people more directly how to participate in the things we call quasi-religious pieces and aspects of Jewish
What
Jewish
are
life?
the most popular singers of Jewishness? Mezuzah, Passover, Seder.
So Passover, Seder, actually Hanukkah is a biggie, partly because it provides a way for intermarried families to deal with Christmas. Pesach is next, but these are the general things. I'm trying to get at a different level, and perhaps I hope a more
And mezuzah on the door, you check?
And we haven't yet, but we will,